Make sure you determine interest before you proceed with trying to book in a call. Hi guys, my name is Deepak Shukla, founder at Pearl Lemon Sales, a sales training and development agency based in the UK, USA, as well as serving clients worldwide. And here today in day number 21 of 119 days of cold calling training, we're here to talk about the determining interest approach. But before we get into it, feel free to click the link below to get an additional 17 strategies not shared in this training. So a big thing that I see happen as being a challenge sometimes is before you go for the close, a lot of people don't always properly qualify what interest there is, as well as the nature of what the interest is. Okay. And what that means is when you move to a cold call and to fundamentally closing them on their interest, then and only then should you close them on the call. So there's two closes that happen within a cold call, okay? There's the determination of interest, and then there's the closing of the actual sales call itself to set up an appointment later on to speak to yourself or one of your inside sales team. So fundamentally, what that means is when you're thinking about your elevator pitch, you're thinking about how you introduce your business or your business's services to the prospect, something to that effect, that you need to make sure that do they actually have an interest, and you know, what would that interest mean? So that might be something along the lines of, hey Frank, it's Richard here calling from Richard's electrical company. Frank, I was calling you today because we help homeowners like yourself try and get a better rate on their electricity bills when the bills come in bigger than you expect. They don't come in as frequently. You get debited without things even happening. And in the first instance, I just wanted to understand if that might be something that's of any interest to you. So do you see there that I'm determining whether there's interest there or not? Okay. Now, there are different ways to do or to determine whether there's interest. And the yes/no response, which is what a question like that can elicit, is definitely ultimately a good route to go in spite of the whole debate about asking open questions, because when you phrase the elevator in such a way that it would seem illogical to say, no, I've got no interest in saving money on my electricity bills or not getting fines or bills that I'm unaware of, the idea that someone wouldn't be interested in determining those things is nonsensical. So in those instances and in that context, it's really powerful to then determine interest in that fashion before you go ahead and try and set up an appointment. So that's why when you're putting together the pitch, it's step one, determine interest. Once the nature and the level of the interest has been determined, then you go for the closing of the call. Now, what sometimes happens, and this is where the challenge comes in, the pitch might go, hey Richard, it's Frank here calling from Frank's electrical company. I wanted to find out if you would be interested in seeing how, with our support, we help homeowners like you save money on unanticipated bills, reducing the electricity spend that you have on a monthly basis, and getting ultimately an all-round better service. No issues with blackouts, no worrying about keeping the lights turned on or turning the lights off when you exit or enter a room. Just no worrying about anything that relates to lighting as well as heat in your home anymore, because you're not keeping a focus on the bills or getting a fright when the bills come in. How does that sound? Is that something you think you'd be interested in? Now, do you see the way that that's set up? That there's so many examples, right? There's so many examples of challenges or problems that you might solve that it feels like it would be, you know, nonsensical for him to, for Richard in this instance to say, you know what, Frank, I'm not interested. Do you see how I'm keeping Richard sounding my rubbish yank as ever? You know what, Frank? No, it's not for me right now. I'm not interested at all. It's difficult when you put Richard in a position like that for him to say no, because saying no would go against the overall logic that we're served. So getting the interest qualified is important. Now, I've begun to build in a bit of the elevator with the approach, but that is much better than saying, you know, so you get up to the end of the pitch and instead of saying, would this be of interest, it might say, you know, what I was hoping to do is, you know, hey Frank, hey Richard, it's Frank here calling from Frank's Electrical. Hope you're having a good morning. What we're doing, Richard, is reaching out to homeowners like yourself to see if we can help you save time and money on your electricity expenses to avoid you worrying about turning the lights on and off when you exit or enter a room, to not worry about the heating being left on overnight, and just having a lot more peace of mind when you go to sleep at night, not thinking about the heating and the lights, and getting the consistent heat and light that you want to have a happy home with your partner, wife, children, spouse, and siblings. And I was hoping to book in a call with you, with one of my team, to talk about it further. Do you see, hoping to, and the expression we're looking at here is hoping to book in a call. Do you see how that is too much too soon? Because you're introducing the subject, you're not allowing the prospect the time to process what the subject is, because you're then also moving towards a call. So you want to make sure that you split that up in two, that you chop it up, and then you can determine what Richard's objections, interests, lack of interest, type of interest are. And that's when you can then tactically make a move, depending upon what Richard's response is to your determining interest approach. So make sure that you're splitting the calls up into two, because it will help the calls you make much, much more effective.
Remember, we've got 17 gated strategies just waiting for you. All you need to do is bing, subscribe, as well as click the link in the description below to get access to those 17. Get some.